He owned nothing. Not his clothes, not his bed, not even his own body. And yet, by the time he died, he had built more genuine financial freedom than the man who claimed to own him. And the reason why, the single belief that made the difference, is the same reason your finances feel either free or trapped right now, regardless of what is actually in your bank account. Hierapolis, Asia Minor. Around 55 AD, a small boy sits in the corner of a wealthy Roman household. His name is Epictetus, which in Greek means simply, the acquired one. He has been bought. He is property. His owner, a powerful freedman named Epictetus, who himself serves the Emperor Nero, can do anything he wants to this boy. And one day, to prove a point, Epictetus grabs Epictetus by the leg and begins to twist. The boy does not scream. He does not beg. He looks up calmly and says, "You are going to break it." The master keeps twisting. The bone snaps. Epictetus says, "Did I not tell you so?" That moment, that impossible stillness inside total powerlessness, is the foundation of a money philosophy that would outlive empires. But what did a crippled slave learn about money that his wealthy master never figured out? Stay with this. Right now, somewhere in London, in Toronto, in Melbourne, someone is staring at a paycheck that disappears before the month ends. They earn more than their parents ever did. They have a phone that connects them to every financial tool ever built. And they still feel broke. Not because of their income, because of what they believe money can do for them. That is exactly the trap Epictetus watched his master walk into every single day. Epictetus had wealth, power, and the ear of an emperor. He also had anxiety, debts, and a life spent chasing things he could not control. Epictetus had nothing, and understood everything. By the end of this video, you will understand the single belief about money that separates people who feel financially free from people who feel financially trapped, regardless of what is actually in their bank account. This is not motivation. This is not a budgeting tip. This is a 2,000-year-old diagnosis of the exact problem your money situation is built on. But first you need to understand what happened to Epictetus after that bone snapped, because what he did next is the part nobody talks about. Epictetus is allowed one thing his master does not take away: his mind. Epictetus, perhaps seeing value in an educated slave, allows Epictetus to study under Musonius Rufus, one of the greatest Stoic teachers in Rome. Musonius teaches something that will permanently rewire the way Epictetus thinks about money, freedom, and power. He teaches that the only thing any human being truly owns is their own judgment. Not their house, not their savings, not their title, their judgment. Meanwhile, Epictetus watches his master operate. Epictetus is not poor. He manages property, accumulates wealth, and moves in the highest circles of Roman power. But Epictetus notices something. The more Epictetus acquires, the more anxious he becomes. A bad month at the market throws his entire household into tension. A rumor about Nero's displeasure sends him into a spiral. His financial security is built entirely on things outside his control. And things outside your control, Epictetus will later write, are not truly yours, no matter what the documents say. Think about the last time your financial anxiety spiked. Was it when the market dropped 2%? When a bill arrived you forgot about? When a colleague got a promotion you expected? None of those things were inside your control. But your reaction, the sleepless night, the impulsive decision, the panic purchase, that was entirely yours. That is precisely what Epictetus was watching his master do. In a Roman villa, while wearing chains, around 89 AD, Emperor Domitian expels all philosophers from Rome. It is meant to be a punishment. For Epictetus, who has by now been freed by Epictetus and has nothing to lose, it is simply a change of location. He moves to Nicopolis in Greece. He opens a school. He charges nothing. Students travel from across the empire to hear him. Senators, military generals, a future emperor named Hadrian, all of them wealthy, all of them coming to learn from a man who had spent his first 30 years as property. Senators came. Military generals came. A man who would become emperor came. All of them wealthy. All of them traveling hundreds of miles to sit in a school with no chairs, no fees, and no walls. What was Epictetus telling them that their own advisors, their own accountants, their own bankers could not? That is coming. And it is the part that explains exactly why your financial decisions keep producing results you did not intend. The word is prohairesis. Prohairesis means the faculty of choice, the one thing that is always, unconditionally, entirely yours. Epictetus built his entire financial philosophy on a single division. He called it the dichotomy of control. Some things are within our power. Some things are not. Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. That is Epictetus, from the Enchiridion. Plain language. Stop spending mental energy and money trying to control what cannot be controlled. Direct everything you have toward the one thing that can. Your choices. Here is where this becomes a financial philosophy, not just a life philosophy. Epictetus watched wealthy Romans destroy themselves financially by building their entire identity around externals. Obigervillo. A faster horse. More slaves. More status. The moment any of those things were threatened by debt, by politics, by a bad harvest, their entire sense of self collapsed with it. Their net worth and their self-worth were the same number. Epictetus called this condition aprohairetic living, living as though the externals define you. He had a second quote that lands harder than almost anything written about money in the last 2,000 years. Seek not that the things which happen should happen as you wish, but wish the things which happen to be as they are, and you will have a tranquil flow of life. That is Epictetus, from the Enchiridion. This sounds passive. It is not. Epictetus is not saying accept poverty. He is saying, stop making your financial decisions from a place of fear about what might be taken from you. Because every financial decision made from fear, panic selling, lifestyle inflation, buying things to signal status, is a decision that makes your master richer and keeps you in chains. Even when you are technically free. Here is what aprohairetic finance looks like right now, today in your life. You buy a car because your colleague got one and you did not want to look like you were falling behind. That is an external driving a financial decision. You keep money in a cash savings account paying 1% interest because a market drop 3 years ago scared you. That is an external controlling your financial behavior. You take on credit card debt every December because Christmas needs to look a certain way to the people around you. That is an external defining your financial choices. Each of those decisions feels rational in the moment. Epictetus would call all three of them slavery. Not metaphorical slavery, structural slavery. You have voluntarily handed control of your financial behavior to things outside yourself. Other people's opinions, market movements, social expectations. Now here is the objection you are probably forming right now. You might be thinking, this is easy to say if you are a Roman philosopher with no mortgage and no dependents. I live in the real world. I have a rent payment in London. I have a student loan in Toronto. I have a family in Melbourne. Epictetus had a broken leg, no legal rights, and no property. And he built more genuine financial freedom than the man who owned him. Prohairetic finance is not about ignoring your circumstances. It is about identifying which financial decisions are genuinely within your control, and making those with total clarity, rather than scattering your energy trying to control everything. You cannot control interest rates. You can control your savings rate. You cannot control whether your employer offers a raise. You can control whether you build a second income. You cannot control what the housing market does. You can control how much consumer debt you carry into the next 3 years. Epictetus did not teach people to be passive. He taught them to be precise. Spend your financial energy only where it can actually move something. This week, before you make any financial decision, any purchase, any transfer, any commitment, ask yourself one question. Is this decision being driven by something inside my control or something outside it? Not, is this a good deal? Not, can I afford it? Those come second. First, am I making this decision from my own judgment, or am I making it because of what someone else might think, because of fear about what might happen, or because I am trying to hold on to something that was never fully mine to hold? Epictetus called this the morning examination. Before the day begins, he would identify which decisions he would face and which of them actually required his full choice, his prohairesis. Everything else he released. One question, Every financial decision this week, inside my control or outside it, that single filter, applied consistently, is what separated the slave who died free from the master who died anxious. Go back to that Roman household. 55 AD. A boy with a broken leg lying on a stone floor. His master stands over him, perhaps expecting tears, or rage, or a plea. Instead, the boy who owns nothing looks at the man who owns everything, and feels something the master will spend the rest of his life searching for. Stillness. Not because the pain is gone, not because the situation is fair, but because Epictetus already understands what his master will never learn. The only wealth that cannot be taken from you is the wealth you carry in your own judgment. Your money can be lost. Your income can disappear. Your savings can be wiped. But the clarity of your financial decisions, who controls them, what drives them, where they come from, that is yours. Entirely, permanently yours. That is what paralysis means when it touches your bank account. That is why a slave's money mindset crushed his master. One question for the comments, and I want your honest answer. Is there a financial decision you have made in the last 12 months that was driven by what someone else might think rather than what you actually needed? You do not have to name the amount. Just name the decision. Because Epictetus said the moment you can identify that decision, you have already begun to break the chain. This video is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. If you want to take the paralysis framework and apply it to your actual budget, our free Stoic Money Guide breaks it into 7 ancient principles you can use this week. The link is in the description. If this video changed how you think about money, the next video will change how you act on it. It is the story of a Roman emperor who controlled the largest budget in the ancient world and nearly bankrupted himself doing it. Subscribe so you do not miss it. One video at a time.